Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode here on the DEANO show. Great to be back with you all for this week's episode on August 6th, 2026. The crazy part about summer is it kind of slow to begin with, like early May or late May or so, early June. And then once 4th of July hits, after that it just flies by. Like it's already crazy that 4th of July was already a month ago and it feels like I was in Newport like yesterday. So once the 4th of July hits, it really just... summer just goes by in the blink of an eye. A couple weeks I'll be going out to Colorado to go see Goose at Red Rocks for 2 days. That's going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. I saw them there my sophomore year at Red Rocks. Epic show. So excited for that, but good month. Summer's coming to an end. I hope you're enjoying your summer, whatever you're doing. Playing a lot of golf, going on a lot of boats, fishing, skiing. There's no skiing in the summer, but surfing. I don't know, wherever you are listening to this summer, I hope you are taking it all in, enjoying your time outside, getting off this thing every now and then, and enjoying your life. Because that brings us into our first topic of the day, which is boredom. I was having a conversation with my mom a couple nights ago about society, where we are going with society, where society has been trending to. This idea of our life is just consumed by a singular device at all hours of the day, and how it's pretty much just social media and just phones has all just pretty much turned into one addicting drug one way or another. Let's think about it this way. Let's say the average person per se, they wake up, they check their phone, they take a shower, they get changed, they go make coffee, and while they're waiting for their coffee to be brewed, they're on their phone looking at Twitter, they're on their phone looking at Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. They're on TV watching videos, and then when their food's ready, sometimes they're on their phone while their food is ready. And then they drive to work, listen to the radio, music, whatever, go to work, do their job. On their break, they have lunch, they're on their phone at lunch, they're interacting with people, but they're still on their phone, and they get home, and then they watch a TV show on their couch, probably eat some dinner, and then that's it. Pretty much call it a life at that point. But so much of that life, there's no sense of boredom. Like I'll literally ask you, when was the last time you actually felt bored in your life? Like genuinely bored in your life and let your mind just wander and didn't immediately go to something to distract you or just be bored and sit in stillness and just relax and not always be so stimulated by a device when you're consuming stuff that literally has no impact on your life whatsoever. And then the problem is why people, I think why this society is so depressed and anxious and all this is because the second you go onto your phone, you're just consuming bullshit after bullshit after bullshit. That makes no sense to your life whatsoever, and you shouldn't care about it. You're constantly comparing and watching everyone else live your life while you're just sitting on the couch or sitting at your desk at work and just like, blah, I'm miserable. And it's just turned into this drug for all of us, essentially. And it's kind of ironic for me because, I post on social media all the time. Not all the time, but I post on social media a fair amount. I'm doing a podcast online, so in order to listen to this, you have to be on your phone. So yes, I know there's hypocrisy in what I'm saying right now, but, your phone, like pretty much anything in the world, you could say alcohol, you can say gambling, you can say your phone, you can say food. If you use it responsibly and you use it the way you should use it, then you should not have a problem with it. If you go on your phone, you check it during your work break for like 15, 20 minutes, that's it. Right before bed, or not really before bed's a good idea, but if you go spend 10 minutes downstairs while you're eating dinner and then you're going to go up to bed and turn your phone off for the night, like fine, totally manageable. But the problem is, and with today's society, is that people don't have the self-control to stop and just do and do and do when it comes to phone or gambling or any of that stuff, which is why it's so bad in our society today, and why people are so disconnected from one another, why everyone feels lonely, while there's no strong relationships anymore, is because we're all just being consumed by this device, and whatever this device is doing, it's practically controlling us in a way. But everything just comes down to self-control. And I'm going to make a YouTube video about this, probably just post an Instagram short about this. But I saw this kid, and I don't know if any of you have heard of him or seen his stuff before, Elliot Buick, who I actually do think is a pretty intelligent kid. And I think he's like 21 or 22 years old. He's got a podcast called the Next Gen Podcast, and he's had some pretty cool guests on, so he's definitely a smart kid. But he was on a TV show in London or the UK, somewhere over there, and he was saying how he wants the older generations, like boomers or the generations before Gen Z and Gen X, to take responsibility for the addicted algorithms that they have created for us, and that they have caused much depression, anxiety within Gen Z, and they need to take responsibility for the way the world is and why Gen Z is all messed up. And in my mind, it's what I go back to what I just said a little bit ago, is the self-control and the self-awareness. Am I going to blame Henry Ford for the amount of car crashes that happen and the amount of people that die in car accidents or in Ford cars every year because he didn't manufacture them to make sure that no one dies when there's a car accident? Or was it the person who was recklessly driving, texting on their phone, or under the influence in driving that ended up killing someone? Am I going to blame the casino for the person who lost all their money, or am I going to blame the gambling addict who knew what they were getting themselves into, who knew going into the casino that there is a chance I lose all my money here, my life is over? You can point fingers at the people who created the tops. You can point fingers at Bud Light. You can point fingers at Tito's. You can point fingers at all the alcohol companies and blame them for all the alcoholics in the world. But at the end of the day, they have a message on all these gambling, on all these alcohol, on social. They're not a message on social media, but to use it responsibly. And if you don't use it responsibly, shit could go wrong. But the problem is that people don't have the self-control, especially with your phone, because it is addicting. I'm not saying social media is not addicting. It 100% is addicting. And I have fallen into the traps, but I've gotten way better at it because I'm always doing other things, so I don't really have time for me to do it. That's a great way to break your social media, is to always be busy. Let yourself be bored. Being bored is considered busy, especially in today's day and age. If you're bored for 30 minutes of your day, or 30 minutes on your phone, I'd rather be 30 minutes disconnected from my phone and letting my mind just think, not being constantly consumed. So many people look for reasons to blame other people for their problems. And I think a big problem with Gen Z today, day and age, is we like to play the victimhood. We want to point fingers at other people. We want to point fingers at the reason why the world is failing, that my life sucks, and that it's everyone else's fault. And you're seeing this shape into the political world with the rise of socialism, and take from everyone else and not earn yourself. Go out and do it yourself. No, I'm just going to take from the billionaires and take from all their hard work and all that stuff. Because it's not fair that they get to live that life and here I am suffering to live my life. When in reality, they were the one who took the most risk to begin with, who went after something they actually believed in, and now all of a sudden I want to take from them because I won't do anything for my life to make my life better. No, that's bullshit. That's not how this works. America is founded on capitalism, and capitalism is amazing. I'm a huge fan of capitalism. Obviously, that's why I'm doing the DEANO show, and that's why the American dream is the American dream. You come here, you have the chance to build yourself up, to start a business, to start a podcast, to start anything you would like. And there's a chance that when you do start that it could become really successful. And there is a chance. If you work hard, if you stay focused, if you're consistent for long periods of ends and you don't give up, something's going to come out of it. But not everyone has the courage to do that. And it's easier for them to blame others than themselves. The root of all your problems, and this gets into my other question, what is your why, and the whole truth below this. But I'll start with what is your why? And I'll ask you, what is your why? When I first hear that question, is someone asks me, what's your why? You know, it's a big question. There's a lot of ways you could go about answering that question. And honestly, like a part of me is like, I don't know, man. I'm just floating on a spinning rock through outer space in the Milky Way existing. Like that, like no one knows how we got here. No one knows, like we're just on planet Earth spinning on a rock. I don't know how we all got here, how this all makes sense. What is the human experience? I don't know. It's what you make out of it, though. That's my why. Why not? Why wouldn't you go after all the things you want to do and do all the things you want to do? And chase happiness, chase freedom, chase money, chase whatever you want. Because you have a chance. That's all you can ask for, is having a chance. I said this on like my first episode or maybe my second episode, but the chances of you even being alive listening to this episode and being born are 1 in like 5 trillion, 100 trillion. Like the percentages of you even existing is absolutely insane. And yet we are distracting ourselves, constantly comparing our life to others and why our life sucks and why the world sucks. No, the world is a magical place. The world is a great place. Live free, live wild, experience everything. And if you would just stop consuming your life through a device and constantly thinking that you need to have the Lamborghini because this person on Instagram is 25 and they're worth millions of dollars and they're doing Pilates and Porsches and posting aesthetic gym photos in Switzerland and they're on yachts all the time. Like, no, like, stop. You don't need that. You don't need it. You don't. You need to find yourself. Find something inside of you that gets you motivated to wake up in the morning. For me, that's the DEANO show. And that also brings me to my why. I like talking to people. I like doing this. I like putting myself out there to the world. Regardless of the outcome, regardless of how many subscribers or followers I get from posting these out there, I genuinely enjoy doing this. And I do it for you guys and I do it for myself. And it just makes me happy because I'm doing something that I enjoy doing. When I was a kid, I would love watching YouTube videos. I was never really much of watching a lot of TV shows or movies or any of that. It was always YouTube videos. And I remember faintly with Justin in my basement, and I must have been like 6th or 7th grade or 5th grade or something, and I was watching a Jay Alvarez video. And it was a video of him like traveling the world, jumping out of planes, doing these crazy jet skis and on these crazy beaches in Hawaii or Spain, wherever he was. And I was like, I can make videos like that someday. There's something in me that just, I feel attracted to do that. I feel drawn to do that. It's a feeling I can't explain to you. It's a soul. It's an intuition. It's something that just is inside of me. And when you find that thing, you have to just let it just crawl out of you and let it consume you and just like let it kill you essentially. Dedicate yourself to it. Because there's meaning in it. There's a reason why you get attracted to certain things, why you love certain things, and why my passions are different than your passions, and why, that's just part of being alive. And once you find what you want, let it kill you. You have to find something and let it kill you. And I think a big problem, and it's kind of hard to do, is that people don't give themselves a chance to really find what they want to find. They just go with the beaten path and that's it. They don't give themselves a chance to dream about who they actually want to be or what they actually want to do with their life. They just kind of do as they're told. And yes, of course, you need to make money in order to survive. Absolutely. I'm not saying, just fuck off and do nothing. No. But have other hobbies that make you feel alive. It doesn't have to be putting yourself out there on the internet. Like, it doesn't have to be that at all. But just find something that you really like to do and give yourself to it. Be bored. Get rid of consuming your life with all of this bullshit technology and constantly comparing yourself to other people. The whole truth, really, and why I started the DEANO show, and like I said, I always loved YouTube. I've always wanted to make YouTube videos, and if I could have a vlog squad someday, that'd be epic. Like, that's like my dream. Vlog squad and make videos. Podcasting, making an impact on the world in a positive way, like that's my dream. But really, the whole truth for me and who I am as a person, growing up in school was always a struggle for me. I was always the kid who was taking tests outside of the classroom, who was taking the easier tests, who was getting the extra help, who never took the AP honors social studies or took the advanced math class. No, it was always like beginner classes. In fact, I failed Spanish 1 like 2 times in high school. Then I took Spanish 1.5, never got to Spanish 2. And then I failed Spanish again in college. Like, I have had my struggles in school my entire life. Speech, articulating my thoughts, and comprehension and reading was always a big challenge for me. But as I got older, I was like, I'm not going to let that define who I am as a person, because those are all skills that you just accumulate and get better at over time, the more you do it. And if I listen to my first episode of me doing the DEANO show to me doing this now, I'm sure I'm a lot better talker and I'm a lot better at articulating my thoughts than I am. Because I've done it 25 more times now, or 24 more times now. I think this is episode 25, but because I've practiced the muscle over and over again. And don't let, like, your struggles set you back. Like, struggles are what make it meaningful. You're going to suffer one way or another. And if you can attach meaning to suffering, there's a great blueprint for life. Carry your suffering. Let yourself suffer, but do it while you're enjoying something to do it. Not that I'm suffering all the time, but you know, I if I told the 5th grade me that I'd be hosting a podcast out of my room right now at 23 years old, he'd probably be like, "That's pretty damn cool, dude. Considering that you took all the extra help classes in school, you would stay after school to get extra help, that you would go in another room to take tests, that you had to go to a speech class and work on your thoughts and comprehend and all that stuff. Like, that's cool to me." And that's why I do these things, is because there was a version of me who was not confident in the classroom, who struggled so much and all that stuff. And school and studying and like doing well on tests. I was never good at that. I took the SAT and I think I got like an 1,000 or like a 950 or whatever. Like, school and not my strong suit. But I found something, making videos, podcasting, talking to the world, that gives me happiness. That gives me fulfillment. That allows me to express myself in any way I want to express myself and connect with you guys to do so. And that's amazing. And it's so much fun to do. I know we've kind of gone away from like the boredom to what's your why, like the whole truth of why I'm starting this, but it's true, dude. You have to just find something that feels right to you. Like and you know, so many people at around my age are like, "I don't know my purpose." It's like, dude, you don't need to know your purpose at 23 years old. You're 23 years old. You probably just got out of college. This is the first year in your life where you have freedom, where you're not going to be going to school every year. Of course, you're not supposed to know your purpose. You haven't done enough things to be like, yes, this is what I want to do. And yes, there are the one-offs of kids who our age who are already widely successful or whatnot, but dude, I wouldn't want to be making millions of dollars right now and doing all this stuff. Like, that's almost like too young to have all this. You know, you got to like earn it in a way. You got to earn your stripes. The problems I've had in my life, I've realized I was looking for a way to escape who I actually wanted to become and who I wanted to be. Whether it was gambling, whether it was just partying and drinking and being lazy and not dedicating myself to anything and living a sloth-like life, pornography, like any of that stuff, I was looking for an escape to just avoid becoming this version I am now. Because I was scared. Because I was afraid of what people will think of me. I was afraid of, like I said last episode, what if my best isn't good enough? What are people going to think of me actually trying and me actually failing to become the best version of myself? And once you understand, and I've said this last week, but I truly just believe this, once you understand your mind and understand that all the shit that happens in your mind is all just noise, it means nothing. Like, your fears aren't your fears. Like, they literally mean nothing to you. As a kid who had to go to therapy for intrusive thoughts because why am I cutting onions in the kitchen? And I'm like, yeah, I could stab myself in the neck right. Like, why am I getting these thoughts? And it was terrible. I was be in yoga class and I was be going in these crazy loopholes that I was going to go to psychotic like institutions and live there for 5 years because I went crazy and then I'll lose my family. And I was having these crazy dark thoughts and I was like, what the fuck? Where are these coming from? Why am I having these? And the one thing I've learned from like having to handle those and being so like consumed and you're giving them so much attention is they seem so real is because you give them so much attention. Like they don't mean anything unless you actually give it meaning. And it sounds so easy, but it's like, I don't want to do any of those things, but they're in my brain. So like, I must want to do them, but it's like, no, you don't. Because if you actually wanted to, then you would do it. You would do all those things. You would want to do it, but you're not because you don't want to, because those thoughts don't mean anything. The thoughts only seem like they're real and they mean something is because you're giving them meaning. Nothing else. And if you understand that, like, your fears aren't your fears. And this is coming from someone who was so scared to start this, who was so afraid of what people will say about me. You know how many people have probably made fun of me or sent this to their friends and be like, what is this kid doing? Or like how many people have already talked behind my back about the DEANO show and how cringe it might look to them? Probably a bunch of people. But it doesn't matter. This is all going to end someday. It's like you don't become confident by telling yourself you're confident. You become confident by stacking up undeniable proof of you are the person who say you are, and you just become the best version of yourself. And you have to have courage in your life to stand on what you believe in and to speak the truth. The best marketing is speaking the truth. And I hope that in this first 22 minutes right now, this is my truth, man. This is the whole truth of who I am and why I'm doing this. Like, this is it. I've had my struggles in school. I've had my struggles with gambling. I've had my intrusive thought struggles about terrible, dark thoughts. Like, I've had it all. And I've gave my suffering meaning. I love my life now. Of course, I've go through hard days, but that's a part of life. Like, you're always going to have bad days. But you have to give the bad the good. I don't know if that makes sense, but I started the podcast because it makes me disciplined. It gives me something to look forward to doing. And it's a commitment. It's a responsibility. Now I have a responsibility to put this out every single week, put myself out there and talk to you guys. And that's fun because I enjoy doing it regardless of what happens. And I don't suffer anymore. And I'm just trying to shut up the voice in my head that just tells me you could be doing so much more, because I can. And you don't have to listen to your mind. And if you can just like hear a thought in your mind, it's like, oh, you shouldn't post that video because you're going to be cringe. People are going to laugh at you. But just do it anyway. Like, get over the hump of your mind and the bullshit that it's trying to prevent you from becoming. And once I did that, I was like, holy shit, dude. Like, it's just this huge euphoric feeling. It's like, I actually don't have to listen to my mind. I can ignore it and actually do what I want to do and enjoy this. Like, actually. And that was like the biggest thing for me. Because my life seemed like so like consumed by this monsters and by these like dark thoughts. And I was like, what is happening right now? But I was like, you don't have to listen to any of these. You can actually do what you want to do and get over yourself, get over your fear and face your fears. Be uncomfortable. So if there's anything from the past 24 minutes of this rant of what I've said, but if there's anything you can take away from this, it's you don't need to find your purpose at 23 years old. Become bored. Let your mind just wander. Stop distracting yourself with phones. Like, you're in the grocery store line waiting to check out and you're on your phone. You're waiting for coffee in line, you're on your phone. Like, get rid of that. Don't consume your life on social media. It's a fake place. Give your suffering meaning. Add on responsibility in your life. Don't add on like too much responsibility you can't handle, but give yourself responsibility. You may say, oh, that's my job. That's great. That's a great responsibility to have. But look for other ways to become responsible. Pick up some new hobbies. Go to a yoga class if you've never been to a yoga class. Join a random run club. Work out every day. Eat healthy foods. These are all things that make your life so much better. And whatever hardships you face, I mean, I told you mine. Gambling was one. School, academia was always a big one. Don't distract yourself with simple pleasures and quick dopamine hits. It's endless. It makes you feel 10 times more lonely. It just doesn't, it's awful. Just face yourself. Stop trying to distract yourself from being the person you want to become, like I was. And just become the person you want to become and ignore your mind. You are not your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. And that's another thing. Understand that you are not your thoughts. Coming from someone who has had terrible intrusive thoughts, you are not your thoughts. That might have been a little intense for you guys to say, but it's real, man. That's me. Like that. Those are my struggles. That's why I'm doing this. This is who I am, and I hope that this like helps you if you are listening to this, watching this, wherever you are. That I know what it feels like to wake up and the whole world, like, get in the shower and get on with your day feels like moving an 1,000-pound boulder up a hill. Like, I know what it feels like. I promise you. I remember sitting on the dining room table with my mom and dad, and I was like, I literally don't want to do anything. Everything feels like I'm moving 1,000 pounds. Like, it's terrible, and I know what that feeling is like. I do. And I've been there before. You have to move. As like hard as your mind makes it seem to be, you just have to move. Go for a walk. Spend time in nature without your phone, without music in your ear. Listen, be with yourself, be bored, draw, journal, write down all your thoughts, write down anything that comes into your mind. Go to the gym. Like, the gym is the best drug there is, and I promise you, it's yes, it's the best thing in the world. And I still, like, whenever I don't go to the gym, or whenever I don't want to go to the gym, and I go and I finish, I think to myself, like, that is the greatest feeling in the world. It just is. It really is. Like, it just makes you feel so fucking good about yourself. It's the best drug there is. You have to just move. You have to just move. So, I know that was maybe deep or like harsh. You've never heard me really expose myself like that, but hopefully that helps you, and hopefully that, yeah, just helps you in one way or another. But we'll get into the questions of what you guys have to say. So, first one again, Shit and Bones, shout out to you. Nostalgia. Dude, nostalgia, man. This famous Naval Ravikant quote, who's a big investor entrepreneur, and he says, if you're not getting happier as you're getting older, you're doing it wrong. So, yes, nostalgia is great, but don't dread in the nostalgia and be like, oh, I miss the good old days. Like, those days are gone. Like, it doesn't exist anymore. It's in the past. Like, you can't focus so much on the good old days, because this is the good old days right now. Depression is when you're focusing on the past. Anxiety is when you're focused on the future. Both which are out of your control. We just have to live right now. So yes, I do like thinking about old moments and playing sports and hockey and even college. Like, those are like the best moments. College was the time of my life. Waking up on a Sunday and shooting the shit with my friends with sports on the TV and all that stuff. Like, that's peak nostalgia. Skiing every day in the winter. Being in class, dicking around in class with your friends, like those are some of the best moments ever. Miss playing hockey so much, like the Winter Club, nostalgia. Like, I don't remember any of the scores from any of the games at all, but I remember dressing in the locker room when we were mites or peewees or squirts or whatever, and it'd be a Sunday night game, and all the parents are doing a tailgate, and we're going out. It's 40 degrees and cold, and we're playing Greenwich, and we're outside. Like, that's amazing. That's literally priceless. So I'll even go through like the old camera roll and think about Europe and traveling abroad and traveling, like peak nostalgia stuff. But don't let yourself get caught in the past, because that's how you become depressed. Don't do that. Next one coming from Chip Knapp. Good to hear from you. Great question. Are you going to be coming to Ryder Cup in Hazeltine? That will be in 29, 28. We'll definitely be coming out to Minnesota. Last time I was in Minnesota, I was for a hockey camp, father-son, and haven't been back since. But yes, you can count me in for that. I will be attending that. So yes, we will be out there, and we got to play some golf soon, dude. Maybe go down to Florida in this fall, play some golf, but calendar's open. Let's get a trip going. Miss playing golf with you. All the Denver boys, if any of you listen to this, miss going to Gulch. Gulch, that's nostalgia. Playing Harvard Gulch par 3 every day. Those are some of the best moments of college right there. Funniest experience at Colony Grill. Coming from Chris Harrison. Chris, good to hear from you. Hope you are doing great. And dude, so funniest experience. I mean, I've dropped one pizza. I was at the pizza window where they put the pizzas up, and I was trying to do 3, which you put 2 in one hand, 1 in the other. And then I had the pizzas, and I turned around, and I immediately bumped into someone, and it was only a plain cheese. So then we had to hotspot a pizza. So that was a pretty funny moment. But I think the funniest moment from Colony, at least for me, was when I first started there. Like, there's certain checklists I have to do when I close on a Saturday night or Friday night, like restock everything, the wine, the beer fridges, glasses, all that stuff. And I was pretty new to the job. It was like my second or first like official one. And they have red wines that are out. And I woke up from a text from Andrea, who's one of my managers, and she sent me a photo of the wine and said, "Are we out of Gwenok?" in all caps. And I was at Liz Sue getting bagels on Sunday, and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, this is not how I wanted to start my Sunday. I thought I had good clothes, sufficient clothes, got everything done. And I obviously knew that we weren't, because upstairs in the liquor room, we have cases of Gwenok. Like, she sent, "Are we out of Gwenok?" knowing we weren't. And then about 5 minutes later, she sent me another photo of all of the cases in the liquor room. It was like, "Nope, we are not out of Gwenok." And then I was just like, yeah. So that was a pretty funny moment. But yeah, Colony's been great. It's a lot of fun, good people to work with, and it's fun being a bar back. A lot of work. It is grindy. It's definitely hustling, but it's good money. It's fun, and I enjoy it. So, top collaborations of who you'd want to collab with or make videos with. So I got a couple, but Forrest Galante, he's a huge like outdoorsman, does like crazy stuff with like the Amazon and sharks and crazy animals. So I definitely want to go to like the Amazon and make like a YouTube video about meeting uncontacted tribes or seeing anacondas, or just going to the Amazon with him in general and just like experiencing that. That would be like sick. That's like one of my dream YouTube videos to make. Another one is going to Brazil, going to play soccer in the favelas. No, it's pretty dangerous, but I think that's kind of like the whole point, and like the whole like adrenaline from it would be really cool to go hang out with some local kids and play soccer. And you look at all these players who are on Brazil, a lot of them grew up in poverty and just played soccer all the time, played street soccer essentially. And so it'd be cool to go to there. That's another one of my videos. I want to dive with sharks someday. Chasing Northern Lights, that's another one. I tried to do that in Norway, but that didn't work out. I want to do a bunch of crazy stuff. Go back to Southeast Asia, go over there again. Skiing in Japan. I got a bunch of crazy ideas, but the top collaboration video would be Forrest Galante, or yeah, I think he made a sick video with him and Nelk. They went to some island in the South Pacific, and yeah, so like if you've watched that, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that would be really cool. That's like one of my top collaborations, Forrest Galante, for sure. Favorite, this one's coming from Little Finney, Colin. Favorite travel vacation, why? So I've talked about Bali a bunch, and Bali's obviously one of my favorites. But besides Bali, when I lived in Prague, when I was studying abroad in Europe, that was like the best city I'd ever been to in Europe, and really the whole trip. I went all over Europe, but Prague was home base, and that was my favorite city. Something about the architecture, it's beautiful, and I took a class, art and architecture, and it got me so into the architecture. Like, I was so like happy to learn about all the architecture from like 500 years ago plus, and to learn all the stories behind the Renaissance, the Romanesque, the Gothic, the Baroque. Like, all that stuff was so fascinating to me. And a part of the class, whatever time period of art we were on, he would take us into Prague and show us around the city, and we'd walk around the city, and he'd be like, oh, like, we're going into this restaurant, but this restaurant has an underground where during the Romanesque time, this is where people lived. Like, this was their home, and it would be a part of the restaurant. So the history behind Prague itself. And one of the things about Prague is why it's so beautiful, and a lot of the old buildings are still standing to this day, is because they pretty much surrendered in World War II. They were like, all right, we're not going to fight back. We're not going to do anything. So then the Nazis pretty much, they were there, but they didn't, blow anything up or nuke anything or destroy any of the buildings. So if you've ever been to Prague, it's beautiful. It's such it's very easy to walk around the city. Phenomenal food, very cheap beer. It's great. It's amazing. So I love Prague, and I definitely want to go back. But yeah, the art and architecture, that probably my favorite class I've ever taken in school. My favorite professor, Daniel. I'll never forget Daniel. That dude changed my life. He was the best, man. Every morning we'd have tea together when we go to class. It was just amazing. So I definitely recommend going to Prague. It's kind of a slept on city in Europe. Everyone's, like Spain, Barcelona, Madrid, Paris, Italy. I mean, I love all those countries. They're great. Madrid's amazing. Italy's one of my favorites. Paris was pretty cool. But Prague is just like epic. It's just sick. So I definitely recommend, if you are going to Europe at any moment in time, or anyone listening to this and you've never been to Prague, go to Prague. It's so cool. You'll love it. You will not regret it. So that pretty much sums it up, this episode of the DEANO Show. I hope you kind of maybe learn some new things about me with my first 25 minutes. Kind of the whole truth of why I'm starting this, who I am, my past struggles. Everyone struggles, dude. Like, don't ever think that no one struggles. Like, struggling is a part of the human experience. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole truth as to why I'm doing the DEANO Show, who I am, and I hope you learn something. And I hope maybe me telling my story inspires you to become a better version of yourself. Because I know what it feels like to feel like your life's over and just moving feels like 1,000 pounds and you're like, why is this happening? But there's meaning behind your suffering. You just have to find it and give your suffering meaning. Like, being a part of being alive is you're going to go through hard shit, and a lot of stuff is out of your control. A lot of stuff is in your control, and don't play the victim. Any addiction, any problems in your life that are in your control, take accountability for, because it does nothing for you to point fingers at other people and say it's their fault why your life is like this, unless it actually is. But if it's an internal problem and a feeling that you can't escape, then it's something you're not facing yourself, and you're letting your subconscious just kind of take it over. Because always remember, when you point fingers, you got 3 fingers pointing back at yourself. So that's all we got for this week's episode of the DEANO Show. Hope it was a good one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will see you guys next week. Peace out.